Now give the people a good introduction. Go ahead. Let's start over.
Okay. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Love Your Life podcast. We are so happy that y'all are here, and we got another hot fire topic for you.
Hi, guys.
We are talking about a topic that is near and dear to our heart,
Yes, it is.
but that we think a lot of y'all got wrong. So, because it's the Love Your Life podcast, we are not just going to tell you what you want to hear. We're going to make sure that you don't just let these little platitudes and these little shirts and sayings that you got on the front of your hat. We want to make sure that you understand how to live that. And so today we are talking about the truth about protecting your peace, and not that fake stuff that you thought or that you might be trying to do, claiming that you're protecting your peace.
You said it's not this on your coffee cup.
It's not on your coffee cup. It's got to be in your heart.
In your guts. It got to be in your gut.
Mind, right? So we are going to break this thing down to you because we want you to understand that protecting your peace is not weak. It's not meek. It's not mild, right? It's not this passive thing that just kind of happens. It's about an active and intentional choice and how you make those choices in all the areas of your life. So we're going to talk about why it matters, why it's so important, and why you don't have to sit over in a corner looking like a monk to get it.
Oh, not looking like a monk. What? You mean it's not just about humming and hawing in a corner?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Nothing wrong with that.
Listen, that can be part of your process. It can be part of your process. But if you spend all of your time letting people walk all over top of you and then coming back home to sit in the corner and meditate, it's probably not going to work.
Right. There's an intentionality behind it that needs to be present.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So first of all, let's just jump in, and how about you give the people a master therapist, master life coach definition of protecting your peace, or even just like what you think about when you hear people say it or when you suggest that people do that. Talk about that.
Well, I think that what I'm talking about is an awareness, a self-awareness, so that a person will know when they are in their space of feeling peacefulness and when they're not. And I'm defining peacefulness as a lack of agitation, a lack of irritation. So like here's the thing. Like I know when I have seen, heard, experienced something that gets me into a feeling of agitation. I know it. So much so because I am so aware that I could be talking to a person, and if I realize that my energy has gone down a smidgen, I'll be like, okay, what just happened? And then I say, oh, okay, I thought about that thing, or I heard that thing, or I didn't like this thing that I heard, or whatever. And then I say, okay, Liz, you'll get back to that later, or you can't do anything about it right now, or hey, put that in God's hands, or whatever. So I can get back up to the energy that I flow in every single day. So to me, protecting your peace is a self-awareness that allows you to know when you are in your flow, when you are in your high energy state, and when you are not. And then you make decisions intentionally about keeping that.
Yes.
And decisions intentionally about responding when you've lost it.
Yes. All of that. See how she did? All of that. All of it.
Every bit.
Now, here's the thing. We are bringing this up for a couple of reasons. So it's kind of coming up because, I don't know about y'all, but there have been some things recently that have just...
What is
forward, right? They have just irritated me to no end, right?
Yeah.
Watching people go to Mrs. Kamala Harris's book signings and show out
ridiculousness? I said it. If you listen to us and you was, let me listen.
I'm telling you something, y'all. We don't. We don't believe in physical discipline anymore as a family.
No,
okay?
we don't.
But when growing up, my mama used to do this thing. She'd grab you by the shoulder, like you just kind of grab your collar of your shirt and do a little shake.
Oh, I thought you was gonna do the finger in the forehead.
That didn't bother me as much as the shake. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get that as much. I don't know. But it would be like snatch, you know. If I would have seen no girl with them funny looking braids, I would have snatched her.
I don't know who you're talking about. This is the person.
I'm gonna send you a picture of her. Okay, I'm gonna send you a picture of her specifically. But she was outside. She showed out in one of the events and then proceeded to come out side and record a TikTok video about how happy she was that she was holding Kamala Harris accountable. And if
Mm.
I would have, I might would have got up and left and just went to go snatch her. I might
Oh,
would have if I had been in there listening.
oh,
Because people have this idea of peacefulness
right.
as if it is passive and they just kind of like let you do whatever. But when you are a person who is living in a real world,
Mm.
and there are real things happening on a daily basis
Every
that
day.
are in fact not peaceful
Mhm.
and are, maybe even systematically trying to attack your peace.
Yep.
If you just sit up here going, you're probably not gonna be okay. So we want you to understand that it is not this passive thing. It is a prerequisite for living a high quality life, though. It does help you with your clarity and your creativity and really standing in your purpose and living your calling. Like, all of those things are important. But the idea that it's like something that's not accessible to a lot of us, I think needs to be changed. We need to understand like peace is an active thing that we can pursue, we can have, we can experience. It's a fruit of the spirit,
Yep.
right? Like it's a spiritual thing,
Mhm.
and protecting it is going to require more than you just cutting people off. And I'm saying this as somebody who has been exceptionally good in my lifetime of cutting people off.
She will slice and dice. She will get to slicing. Who did that? Was that Martin? She will get to slicing and dicing.
I'm sorry.
I think
What
Martin.
episode is
I
that?
think, no, I think there's a skit in Martin on the Martin show when he used to do slicing and dicing. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna ask my line sister.
Okay,
But
y'all know how we do. In the comments, if you know this episode, help your girl out because I don't remember that episode, and I know I don't watch them all.
well, if it wasn't in the script, it's the way I remember it. It's what it represents. It's what the action represented to me. But all I'm saying is that yes, if there's a person who will cut some people off, it is the Calvalyn Day. She will cut a joker. Boom. She will cut a joker.
And here's the thing: I'm not saying that like like I was always doing it to protect my peace. Sometimes I was a little bit petty, but I'm, as I've gotten older, I definitely am a person that recognizes, hey, we all are on our own journey, and some people just not where I'm at, and hey, I can wish you well and let you go, right? I can give you a to go bag and a plate in a little Martin bag, and you can take that with you, right? But from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think there's growth that can happen in that too. But the most important thing is I have just learned to thoroughly enjoy peace in every fashion. And kind of while we were, starting to think about this was recently my kid. So I have a adult daughter who is moving after the top of the year. So there's a gap between her lease and her move. And so she's going to be moving in with me for a couple of months. And so she was coming over to the house yesterday because she was off work for the holiday, and she brought over some items. And lo and behold, so I had 3 of my kids. So normally I've only got 1 kid because I'm almost an empty nester. So I got 3 kids in the house, and they just kind of bumping around and doing whatever. One sister says to the other sister, "Don't you want to take me to get some Chick-fil-A?" Which is always a good, like they always got a good excuse to go to Chick-fil-A. And she's like, "Oh, sure, let's go." So then they're, bumping around, and they all sharing and having and giggling and so forth. And I thought, this is peace. This is peace right here. Having 3 of my 4 children in the house, chilling, just doing normal stuff. And part of what's peaceful to me is like a lack of strife.
Right. Isn't that good?
That strife that is sometimes existing in homes and work environments.
Yes.
Where everybody just kind of tiptoeing around on eggshells. Nobody, everybody just waiting for somebody. Look, I wish they would try me.
Oh.
Everybody just waiting for it.
Mm.
The absence of that is so beautiful. It is such and I recognize, and I really kind of, one of the things I'm doing as I get older is leaning into those moments and letting myself make a mental snapshot of those moments, because those moments didn't always exist. Towards the end of my marriage, there was definitely a lot of time when it was not peaceful.
Right.
And so to be here, look, I want y'all to know it's an active process to get to this side and say hey, we can all be in the home and we can enjoy each other. And it's not a holiday, it's not a birthday, it's just like a regular old Monday afternoon, and we all chilling, and it's worth it. But I think sometimes we have a lot of myths about protecting our peace, and so that's what we wanted to bust for y'all right
Of course we do. And I want to go back and say, if this is your first time listening to us,
now.
you might need a little clarification. Listen, we are going to have a good time doing the podcast because, and our personalities are going to show during this podcast recording because that is the purpose around our show. It is loving your life, and we're not going to pretend to be different people. So as we are joking about like somebody, when you said that's what I really kind of got tickled. When you talking about sitting in the corner going, okay, listen, we are not opposed to that if that is a part
And
of.
I'll meditate my butt off, and I will.
We are not opposed to that. If that is a part of your peace, I'm about to interject here. Peace plan. Okay?
Mm.
So many people don't have a peace plan. So if that is a
Period.
part of your peace plan, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not making light of that. We're just saying that there are some levels to this thing, and there are
Right.
some other things that need to be a part of the plan. And one of those things is in navigating the myth. Right.
Right.
So I'm gonna go out with one. Here's what I think. I think a lot of people think that protecting your peace means that you have to cut people off. I
Mm.
don't really think that you have to. I think that it doesn't necessarily have to mean disconnection, or even, I'll take this word, isolation. It just
Mm-hmm.
might mean that you have to be more discerning.
Right.
Right. So if you have some relationships, I think, that are a little tougher to manage, but you still want to be in relationship with those people in a healthy way, then I think you're just discerning about when you're spending time with that person and when you're
Right.
around that person and how you're around that person.
Right.
Now, I'm also the person who understands that sometimes some situations are so unhealthy, you might not be able to do that. But I don't think that protecting your peace has to mean, and I do think it's a myth that it has to mean that you're cutting people off. Because
I would agree with that.
yeah, okay, yeah. I think you just decide when you're going to be around this person and in what ways. And part of that is you're checking in with yourself to know what you can tolerate and what you can hold that day,
Right.
what you have space for, right? And so maybe you're like, well, you know what? I know that this family member is going to drink too much on this particular
Mm.
holiday, and every time
That's
they
a
drink,
great example.
I know, and because I can tell you how many times I've heard that from people, and so I know that I'm not going to be around on that day because when they get to drinking, it's too messy for me. It's just too much.
Right.
Okay, you're still in relationship with this person because you want to be, and you want to do that in a healthy way for you. So you've identified, you're discerning, and you know that around this particular engagement, you can't be with that person. That is fine. That is a
Right.
middle ground between you being in a relationship and not. I think that's a
Right.
perfect middle ground there. So I'm gonna say a myth is that you have to cut people off. I don't think you have to.
Right. Right. And so I think what you're really talking about is being honest about your needs, setting a healthy boundary, right? Which is, if I see this person pick up the bottle, I'm out, right? I'm driving myself because I'm not going to get trapped by somebody who don't want to leave when I do. I'm not, one of your favorites, I'm not sharing a hotel room with people, right? So whatever that may look like for you, I think the key is it requires some self-awareness
Right.
and appropriately setting those boundaries. So I think that's absolutely true. Okay. Another one. This is not.
Oh Lord. When she starts, y'all, when she giggles before she say what she say, number one, I don't know. I don't be knowing what she's gonna say. So I'm getting ready with y'all because I don't know.
What I'm saying is this particular one was not my spiritual affliction. This was not my affliction. But if you are a person who avoids conflict, that is not the same thing as protecting your peace.
Let me tell you something. I was talking about you not avoiding conflict just a little while ago.
Excuse me?
I was talking to my bestie. I told her how a person that we both respected, an author that we both respected, sent out a newsletter that you did not like, and how you read him for filth in the most professional way and sent it to him and are still waiting for a response because he wasn't ready. If he got it, he wasn't ready. Because you will confront a joker.
Here's the thing. I always tell people about boundaries is boundaries are the gifts that we give people we want to be in relationship with. And so if you avoid confrontation, you are doing one of two things. You are either creating a relationship that is harmful to you or a relationship that is harmful to the other person because you are not being honest with them, which is essential to peace, right? To have like a healthy, balanced relationship, right? So I am not opposed to confrontation. I don't seek it out. Like, I'm not a person that just looks for the fight. But if it knocks on the door, I'm gonna be like, let's go, sucker. I mean, because it's there for a reason. And sometimes on the other side of a confrontation, things really do get better.
Let's
Why are
go.
you looking at me like that?
Let's go, sucker.
If it have to be, it have to
Are
be.
you here? Let me. Let's go, sucker.
I'm just saying, if I have absolutely had conversations with people where there was a difficult conversation and it ended up better on the other side of
Oh,
it.
for
I have
sure.
absolutely had that happen. And I have had conversations where it was really clear it wasn't going to get better. And it gave me the release that I needed to move on.
Yes.
The avoiding of the conflict, the avoiding of the confrontation, trying to keep the peace. Like that's, and let me just go ahead and go here for the people who've experienced trauma in their life. If you are expected to stay in relationship with an abuser to avoid confronting that person, if the uncle that touched you is still coming to Thanksgiving dinner, that is not protecting your peace. Protecting the abuser is not the same thing as protecting your peace. And so this avoiding confrontation, and I know we're recording this like pre-holiday season, but kind of the last 3 months of the year, it seems like there's always a holiday, there's always a family gathering, there's always something coming up. And so many people go into that season anxious every single year because they're afraid that they're going to have to avoid confrontation or tolerate disrespect or ignore something that is eating at them. And guys, that is not protecting your peace. So if somebody is using protecting their peace as an excuse to let somebody who did some, I almost said a cuss word, who
I
did
saw you. I saw your mouth. I saw your mouth. I saw your mouth. I saw you catch it and swallowed it back down. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it.
if somebody is using that against you to keep somebody, to protect somebody who doesn't deserve protection, just know that's a myth.
And
And I'm
here's
gonna
the
leave
other
it
thing. Let's go ahead and add some more examples here. So she gave an example of like a physical violation, but there are also some emotional ones that,
right,
that are that in that space. Some financial ones.
right.
So your cousin stole your credit card and ran it up. Come on, people. Let's be clear. Somebody used your credit and got their light bill, and now you got some. I mean, like there are other violations. So I just want to throw all of them out there. Okay.
Right.
So if there is something that has been so significant that every time you're around that person, like you cannot feel peace, then
Right.
you've got a responsibility to yourself
Right.
to behave differently. And here's the thing, I kind of hate the phrase "keep the peace." I think I kind
It ain't a great phrase. It ain't.
of right. We need to find out who started that and why they started that. Because here's the thing,
Look, like your mom would say, some hellraiser. Some hellraiser probably started.
right? The person who is messing up other people's peace started it, so that we don't have to confront them and deal with their butts. That's
Right.
who started it. But I think in my clinical space, I've always talked to clients a lot about like denying that to try to keep peace with that person is now making chaos inside yourself. Because
Right.
every time you don't stand up for yourself, every time you're not true to yourself, every time you don't protect that part of you, yourself is violated and yourself is gone.
Yes.
Like
You're
yourself.
at war with yourself trying to keep the peace with them. Why?
Right. So now you make an argument with you because you're trying to avoid an argument with them. And don't get
Right.
me wrong, we're not running around saying, hey, argue with this person. We're just saying if you know that this situation puts you in a spot where you cannot feel peacefulness around this person and this issue keeps coming up and you want to deal with it and you're not dealing with it, to keep the peace with them means to create chaos with you. And here's how that works. Every single time you think about it, you be like, I wish I would have said, dang it, why didn't I do that? I said next time I saw them, I was going to say something. Or I said I was going to call them. We was going to have this conversation before this next outing. Like, why didn't I do that? I can't believe I did this to myself
Right.
again. That's the conversation in your head. So now you have created an internal conflict because you want to avoid an external one. Well, here's what I tell people all the time. External conflicts go away. Internal conflicts stay. Here's how I know that. If you are mad at me, you mad at me at your house.
Peace.
I'm in peace at my house. And I'm doubly in peace now because I was mature and assertive and had the emotional intelligence to tell you how I stand about this situation between the two of us. And I'm no longer hiding it, trying to keep the peace. And so now I'm released and I'm at home chilling. I have not made an internal conflict with myself.
And you know what? I think you have gotten really good at this in the last couple of years around like imbalanced friendships.
Uh,
And I'm saying this because there's some women who are hearing us. I'm talking to you. If you think I'm talking to you, I am, okay? Who are in some imbalanced friendships where you are always the caller. You are always the shower upper. You are always the one that they call and say, I just need a prayer. Okay, you help me, friend.
I'm doing the Nene. You know the Nene when Nene was doing this?
Oh. If you know that when the Bible says be equally yoked, I think the Bible means that in all kinds of relationships,
Period.
right? So if you are in a friendship with a sister friend and you realize that your sister friend has not been a part of any of your recent successes, has not been shouting from the rafters, right, about how proud she is of you, but is consistently shouting out other people or is consistently clamoring for your energy when she's not giving it, those kind of things. And I think you have done a great job in recent years of acknowledging it, not in this like I'm cutting my friend off way, because some of those relationships are maintained.
Some of them are, yeah.
Where you just said, this sister, this hurt me. I really was expecting XYZ. I don't know exactly what prevented XYZ, but this is what I was feeling. And in the places where I think those relationships should continue, they did.
Yeah.
And in spaces where they really probably shouldn't have, they no longer are the type. And it's not like there's a rift, like pettiness or bitterness or anything like that. It's just like, hey, wish you well, keep it pushing. No big deal. But I think that is something that we as women don't always talk about, which is why some women got these friends that we've been friends since 5th grade. Why? It's been toxic since 6th grade. Why are y'all still friends?
I don't understand it. I ain't gonna never understand it. And yes, I don't know what, I don't know when it clicked for me, but
because I saw it, because I'll be the one person I'll be like, tell it, and she'd be like, no, yeah. And then there was a shift, and it was just like, oh no, I'm telling her. Oh no, we're having a conversation. And it's not like it wasn't aggressive or mean, but it was just very much like, next time I see her, we're gonna have this conversation. At some point, this conversation is gonna be had, and then it will get had.
Yeah. It wasn't, here's the thing about it, and this is where I want other people to be. Like, I was just aware. I just became aware that this relationship was lopsided, perpetually lopsided.
Right.
And I wasn't angry. I was hurt. I think I could say I was hurt in at least a couple of those scenarios, but I wasn't angry. And in some of the scenarios, I wasn't even to the point of hurt, because I just said, okay, Liz, now this is time number 5, time number 10, and let's just be clear. This is not a person you're going to continue to go down the road of life with, and you need to go ahead and let them know that, right? But I can specifically remember a couple of times when I told people like, hey, I just want you to know I really am disappointed. I'm really hurt. Didn't come through for me, and I just want it's noted. I just want you to know that that's not what I expect from my friends, and I know that life happens for all of us, and that's part of the reason that it's got to happen, is that I need you to also acknowledge that your strong friend has a life too.
Say it again.
I need you to acknowledge your strong friend has a life too. So I specifically
laughing on both sides of the street, friend.
Right. I specifically remember telling a friend like, hey, you dropped all this stuff on me again, and you didn't know this happened, this happened, this happened. Like, I remember Daddy was in the hospital. Like, it was a bunch of stuff going on for me, and I'm steady coming through for her, and she barely even asking me how am I doing. And so I told her, and she apologized and asked me to forgive her. And our relationship has been great since then. That probably was like maybe 10 years ago. I've done it again as recently as this year, and I've done it a couple years ago. And so it just has to happen. And here's the other thing. The thing I love about it is when you know a good, healthy relationship, then you know for sure when one isn't.
Right. And listen, she got the good friends. That's for sure.
I got some jewels, jewels, right? And so you can tell. Like, I got, and
she's a good friend.
Yeah.
You give, you get. And the balance in the relationship is important, and it's peaceful. When there's an imbalance, that's not peaceful.
No, it's not. Which brings me to the third myth that the myth I want to bring up is that peace is just this thing that's like a feeling, just a vibe. People be like, it's a vibe. It ain't just no vibe. Peace is a practice.
Period.
Peace is intentional. It is something, and I think there's a scripture. I believe the Bible says, "Pursue peace with all men."
Yeah.
I think that's in there, right? And so if the passage, if I'm saying it correctly, the word in there is pursue. The pursuit of something is on purpose. The
Period.
pursuit of something is intentional, right? And so if I am pursuing peace, then that means I have a responsibility. I have an action. There's
Yeah.
something I have to do. And I think many people just think avoiding and ignoring and acting like something is not happening is how they protect their peace, rather than to be responsible and honest and assertive and say, hey, this doesn't work for me. This is
Well,
where
I
I.
have such a good example for that.
Uh-oh.
I First of all, don't say uh-oh.
I mean, you rolled your eyes kind of.
When I see people who are saying, so their credit is bad, they living in a house they don't like, their car is breaking down every 2 weeks, right? And they saying they gonna keep their job because look, I can't let no job be stressing me out. So you keeping the job that's not paying you well and is creating a life that you don't want to live, as opposed to making the intentional effort to level up in some area of your life. Sometimes peace is eliminating something, but sometimes peace is holding yourself to a higher standard. When I look at people and they say like, well, they keeping the easy job, or they don't want to have, I don't want to have no boss because these bosses be stressing you out. And you ain't made their money. You ain't made a dime in your business in 6 months. Sitting up here bum begging and borrowing. Why? Why are we doing that? Get a job.
Not peaceful. That's not peaceful.
It's not peaceful. So this idea that it's just like, I'm chilling. Not always. Sometimes you are intentionally walking towards peace. You are intentionally lifting something that's heavier so that you can build a muscle to have that peace. If it's something you want to carry. I remember when you were getting ready to have Sunny Grace. You were sitting up here like, we finna build this muscle of caregiving. And you got my favorite nephew dog, Rocky.
Yeah.
I built the muscle of caregiving
Yeah.
daily,
Yeah.
a very pampered pooch. Because you're like, we've had this existence that has not required us to make adjustments for other people. But you made this intentional effort to say, I want to have the most peaceful child rearing experience, and I'm going to develop the skills and the ability to do that. And you did it.
Right. And that is so true. Like, I think I've said on the podcast before, we tried to get pregnant for a long time and weren't. And when I was really committed to like, hey, we're going to get pregnant. This is going to happen. I'm not giving up on this. This is going to happen. And I said, let's get a dog. We have never, the two of us.
we should probably clarify for the people. We were not dog people.
No.
When she said she was getting a dog, I was like, you getting a what?
Yep. I was getting a dog. And here's the thing, y'all. I would share this story to anybody. I was looking for a dog. My cousin is a dog trainer, and he was like, I think you should get this kind of dog. And I said, okay, because he told me to. And I was looking for that dog and couldn't find it. And then one day, a sorority sister had said she had a new, a litter of dogs, and it was the same pooch. I have a miniature schnauzer. She had a litter of miniature schnauzers. And here's the thing, because I don't know if y'all know this, I was praying about my dog, because I pray about everything. So
peace practice.
I pray about everything. So I knew that it was my dog when they said this dog is available, and it was on my birthday. The litter would be available for pickup on my birthday. I knew that was my dog at that time, and I think we were pregnant 2 years later, or a year and a half later, like 18 months later, we was pregnant.
And let me tell y'all something. When she said she's getting a dog, I was like, I'm going to protect my peace. I'm not going to have nothing to do with that dog.
You wrong for that. But she did do that, though. And guess what?
I just was like, my kids have asked for dogs for years, and there's never been a dog. But this dog was missing from our lives.
Poo-poo boy. He's a little poo-poo boy.
Do that dog be in my bed? Yeah, he do.
Could be. It could be. It could be that he has a special blanket at Auntie's house. Could be. It could be that Auntie won't let him have water out the sink. Could be.
I'm just saying. sometimes you are moving, and this is another point, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you are moving in the direction of your peace.
Yeah.
And other people might not understand it.
Right.
This is your intentional effort to get towards your peace. Like when we talk about the practices of what it actually looks like to protect your peace, you're
Mhm.
choosing it through structure, through, systems, routine, boundaries, values based decisions, right? You should make the decisions that work for your life. It
Right.
might not work for somebody else's life.
Hmm.
I love that dog, but I'm still not getting one.
She's not. She's just sharing mine, and no, she doesn't want one. This did not make her a dog person. This
Right.
made, this made her a my dog person. She's not a dog person.
Period.
But
Period.
that was like a decision because peace is intentional. I thought that I needed to have this practice to get that
Right.
muscle ready to go in that direction so that I can have a smooth transition. And that was one of the things that I took. Now, does that mean everybody got to go get a dog? No. But you
No.
figure out what your muscle is that needs to be developed for you to go to that next space for you. And here's the other thing. You notice how in that example, peace didn't even have to be about a relationship. Protecting my peace was about the way I live. It was about
Right.
my standard. It was about my lifestyle and being honest about what my lifestyle had accommodated up until that point and what it was going to need to accommodate moving forward. Now, we don't always get that opportunity necessarily. Maybe somebody got pregnant unintentionally and so they didn't get a chance to warm that muscle up in that way. But where you have the opportunity, if peace is a practice, then go ahead and take an action.
Period.
Right? So when we're talking about protecting your peace, relationships are a big part of it. But
Right.
there are other parts of it. And most of it is just when I gave that definition, that loose coach's definition, it was just about being self aware, knowing
Right.
what you need, and taking the actions to help you stay in a space of being in your personal flow when your energy is good.
Right. And it's it's when we talk about the intentionality of I deserve this,
Yeah.
I want this, I will have this, right? Like it is that. And here's the thing that I love. If you are a person like myself who does practice meditation, sometimes the only place you will get to experience it in the beginning is in your mind, right? Because if you have a history of chaos in your life, peace may not feel very peaceful. So we're going to talk about this for just a quick second.
Hmm.
If you grew up in a home that was chaotic, where there was a lot of financial instability, there was a lot, the lights was always getting shut off, you wasn't always going to have food, then you might have chosen some relationships in your life that reinforced that type of behavior, those type of patterns, right? If you got inconsistent love from your father, you might be choosing a man who's inconsistent with his affections, those kind of things. So peace may not feel very peaceful for you. So it may take some practicing in your mind through the practice of meditation to become that for you. And so it's not that it's always going to be this automatic thing. Sometimes it really is going to have to be building that muscle, making those intentional choices, saying yes to the things that get you closer and not just no to some things, like because we sometimes think of it as like protecting my peace is saying no and shutting things out and eliminating things. Sometimes it's choosing to say yes. It's
Isn't that
choosing to
big?
say yes, I want this relationship. Yes, I want to take this opportunity. Yes, I believe I am worthwhile.
Right. Exactly.
Sometimes people avoid things because there's a little bit of fear around it, when yeah, there might be a moment of fear, but on the other side of it is peace.
And so you bring up such a good point there, and I'm glad you went that direction because we have spent most of this conversation talking from a place of people who can really identify it. But maybe there are
Mhm.
people who have had so much chaos and so much trauma that they really do run from it, and so
Right.
they don't really know how to create it. And I think it's important to be patient with yourself and to start to develop it in little bitty spaces, in little
Right.
bitty pieces, right? And because if you're a person who's had that experience of living in chaos, the idea of stillness or softness or
Mhm.
peacefulness might not be great because many
Right.
times for folks it was the quiet before the storm. So
Yes.
they want to keep things stormy because they have this fear about the quiet. But
Right.
I think once you're an adult, you have the opportunity to create more of your spaces
Yeah.
and to have choices about what's in your space, where you work, what's in your home, where you live, in your relationships. Like you have more options there.
Right.
And so if you've been that person who's had a hard time even identifying peacefulness or maintaining it for any length of time, I want you to be patient with yourself and then just finding out the little spaces where you can bring peacefulness into your world, and then you start to expand it.
Right.
And the thing that I love is the example that you gave when you were just talking about yes. Like, we're talking about a yes with conviction.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a yes that you feel to your bones. Like,
Yeah.
that is ultimately where we're trying to get to. I think in some cases we might be able to do that, but there's other times maybe we haven't done it. So it's like getting to the place.
Yeah. And this is definitely a work in progress, right? Like, protecting your peace is not like, I think there's this idea that sometimes we have, thanks to social media probably, but that's like, once you have like that is a period. Like, I protect my peace and I'm done.
No.
It is an ongoing process.
Five.
If you
Yes.
keep living, you keep protecting your peace.
Yes. Yes. And here's another one. For the go-to girl, for the high achiever, the elite performer, resting without qualifying it, resting without justifying it, resting without having to earn it. That is another direction of protecting your peace.
And let me just give the people a little bit on this one, because this is one that I am. We're probably gonna do an episode like this. There's levels to this ish, because there are levels to this, and this is one of those things that I am definitely working on, because this is the first time I had my oldest daughter when I was 14. So I have been a mother who worked, and sometimes worked multiple jobs since I was 14. I had her the month before my 15th birthday. I had a job at 15. So I have been doing this for over 30 years. And so the idea that I'm not busy is still like, it's like, oh, I look at my calendar like, oh, I don't have to. And now that I work with, therapists in private practice, and so the way that my life works, I don't have to have like appointments every single day.
Right.
And I don't have to be busy every single minute. Nope. And I really love my work. Like, I get energized and invigorated by my work. So it doesn't always even feel heavy, but like balancing and figuring out like, what's the sweet spot of, oh yeah, I feel a little bit tired today. My aura rings to get your butt back in bed. I'm staying in bed. Like, and getting into some of those like rhythms of rest, right? That allows me to rejuvenate and bounce back and those kind of things. That is a practice that has not historically been allowed to Black women. So if it feels awkward, if you grew up in a household where they say, get your lazy butt up, right? Like, if that was the story.
That Saturday morning, you can't do nothing but get up and start cleaning. Every Saturday.
There are people to this day that are traumatized when they wake up in the morning and hear Stevie. If somebody were to come in their house and start playing Stevie Wonder on a Saturday morning, they would be traumatized to this day, because that is the life that they grew up with, right? That they were just not allowed rest, because your value is not tied to productivity.
Right. It's true.
You are allowed peace just because you exist. And if you are a believer, peace is something that should ooze from you. So if you're living a life that's not like oozing from you, and I'm speaking to lots of people right now, especially people that bring chaos when they come in the room. If peace is not just oozing from you, you might want to check your relationship with him. I'm just saying.
And here's the thing. I think we need to qualify this too. We are not saying that nothing happens. We're not saying that you will not experience discomfort or disorder. But we're talking about the way that you survive those moments. We're talking about how you get through those moments. Right? So, yes, you're going to experience things. Things are going to happen. But it's about whether or not you can get through them in a healthy way.
Right.
And here's the other thing.
You do that. That's what we want for you.
And I want to interject this one little spirituality point. Like, the Bible promises us peace that passes all understanding. But we have a responsibility to maintain it.
That was so rude.
I just have to say that. Because you can't blame God that you lack peacefulness when you know this man has made a lifestyle of cheating on you. You know that that's what he does. You know that that's what she does. Because women cheat too. So fellas, when I'm talking about a man, it's just because I'm a woman. But don't get it twisted. I know the women do the same things. So don't tell me that Lord, you had promised me some peace, Jesus, but Don't tell me that when you have the responsibility to maintain your own peacefulness. The same thing happens. We can go down the money trail. We can go down other relationships. Like it's the same thing. You have a responsibility to maintain it. So when you have identified what it is and what it looks like, then you got a starting point. And
Right.
it's your job to go ahead and do it. In the same way, when you go to your house, you're going to lock the door for your protection because you said I have identified that everything in here is what I want in here. That's the same thing that you do in other areas of your life. Some doors got to be locked. Some doors got to be locked. Right? So it could be a romantic relationship. It could be something going on with your kids. You know that your child clowns every single time they go over that one friend's house. You know they get in trouble every single time they do. And you keep letting them go over there with that friend. It's your job to protect your peace. You know that you don't have no business every single week going to Williams-Sonoma, West Elm, whatever your store is, the at-home store. You know that you're going to overspend every single week. And then you're talking about, Lord, I don't have enough to pay this bill. It's your job to protect your peace. He gave it to you, but you got to keep it.
Period.
You got to keep it. Okay? So protecting your peace is not passive. It is intentional. It is specific. It is a plan. You need a peace plan. And it's not only about cutting people off. You know, it's about discerning who you need to be in a relationship with and who you don't.
Right. And so as we wrap up this wonderful episode, here's what I want you to really take from it. First of all, I want you to share this with a friend.
Please
share it with a sister friend, share it with a supervisor, share it with a boss. You can share it with whoever you want to, okay? Share this episode with somebody so that we can make sure that people are getting this information. But I want you to, number one, make a goal this week to pursue peace. Like, make that a goal. Because when you set the intention, guys, I want you to understand how your brain works. There's something in your brain called the reticular activating system, right? Where it will essentially seek out the things that you say are important.
Right.
So the act of saying peace matters to me is the very first step in actually saying I can have more peace. And then when you identify, I want you to lean into it, right? I want you to lean in. We talked earlier when we were kind of prepping for the episode, we were talking about how my daddy could savor a glass of iced tea. This man drank this iced tea, my lord, like you would have thought it had some whiskey in it, but it was literally just iced tea. And when he became diabetic, he didn't give up his iced tea. He just switched over to unsweetened and started sprinkling a little sweet and low in there. And he could still savor with his legs crossed on the back porch, on the front porch, wherever he was, that glass of iced tea. And so I want you to savor those moments of peace as you find them this week. I want you to be clear that you deserve them. I want you to train your brain to look for them. And I want you to savor every single moment of peace that you have because you deserve that. And I want you to have it.
I love it. I savored today.
Oh, what did you say?
I was driving down the street and I noticed how beautiful the leaves are.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I love about fall, and there were trees everywhere during the route I was taking. There were trees everywhere, and I was like, "Oh my God! Look at the orange and the yellow and the red, like beautiful, just a beautiful sight." Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm driving," which I don't really like doing very much, right? But the scenery was amazing, so I'm going to savor the moment.
Yeah, I did that this week when I picked up Lauren. I was like, she's like, "Why aren't we on the highway?" And I was like, "I just don't feel like seeing another truck."
No,
I want to see some leaves. I want to see some grass. I want I mean, but again, that was an intentional choice, right? And it can be that simple, guys. It can be that simple between I'm taking this route versus that route. Right. I'm choosing to do this activity to prep for the week and not this activity. Like, it can be that simple. So share this with a friend. Decide that you deserve some peace. Recognize those moments when they come and just lean in there and soak them up. Soak
it up. I love it.
We love y'all. We love y'all. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We'll be back in another couple weeks because we love you and we are here at the Love You to Life podcast. Going to keep showing up and sharing what we can with y'all. And you just keep sharing with us.
All right. We love y'all. See y'all later. Bye.